Good day and welcome to our presentation on engaging agriculture students in bovine animal husbandry. Thank you for taking the time today to meet with us, to talk with us, share some of the things that we have found and we are working on in this world. So thank you for taking the time. We're going to get started here and we're going to talk through some of the different products that we have here. We're going to be focusing on really three main objectives. We're going to talk about career exploration, really looking at some opportunities that can help your students within the field of agriculture, and then specifically how it can tie to getting students to understand and working and seeing the importance of animal husbandry. We're going to share some of the tools that we have here at Realityworks, talking through and then showing you some of the products that we have today. And finally, we'll give you some free resources to help you engage and to kind of bolster your classroom and your students as we go through and they go through this world. So with that said, let's get started to talk today about our presentation. So first off here, a few things to kind of just share with you is one of the things that we're going to be talking about really fits right into the Common Core Technical Standards, the standards for animal systems career pathways. So looking right into and working with the standards that are expected to be taught in agriculture, and then how do you make sure that you bring them alive and have them come alive within this world. So one of the things that I just want to share is I highlighted some of the big words or the places that really fit this world of standard-based learning. And so things like animal welfare, animal husbandry, proper nutrition, animal nutrition, animal reproduction, classifying and selecting animals, the anatomical characteristics of that animal, and then animal health care. All of these different principles, all these things within the Common Core technical standards here are things that we see in the classroom teaching, and the products we bring forward, the different educational opportunities that we try to bring forward work hand in hand in that world. So again, trying to tie in what is it that we need to teach our students? How do we do it in a fashion and a manner that help our students, and also making sure that they're coming away with the learning they need within the standards. So let's get into that a little bit. Now, one of the ways that we look at the world and how to train is what we call that skill training. How do we get students to have the skills needed to be able to care for the animals that they are in charge of? And so we look at it from what we call the beginning to the end. And so kind of to talk through a little bit of that, just of how we see it, is we look at it from the start. So things like artificial insemination, things like selective breeding, those types of ideas is really the beginning of that animal. And so we really look at it from the beginning to end. How do we help them understand how to create that animal through either natural breeding or artificial insemination or selective breeding, and then what is happening while they're being bred? So after they've been bred. So that whole development process of the animal. Once you get through that development process, really looking at and saying, okay, is the animal viable? How are they doing in that whole development process? What things can you do? Things like ultrasound, things like being able to actually start thinking about how you're going to care for that mother, and then also, are you ready to birth that calf when it comes time? So working through all the different systems and all the different parts and pieces in there, really starting from the beginning all the way through. Where does that go to? Things like our calf simulator and getting them into a simulation experience or into the understanding of the calf itself. From there, then also working with and interacting with things like, okay, calf care, caring for the welfare when they're very small, but then now as they grow, what are those different things they need? Nutrition, medications or disease prevention, understanding what food and nutrition is important to them, the selection and the judging process, the care for them. And then finally, what are you going to do with that animal at the end? Is it going to be for production and meat? Is it going to be for dairy? What type of opportunities do you have towards the end of, or using that animal for business, for entrepreneurship, for the things that you need? Now, once we get done there, we really start looking at how do we bring training tools into the classroom for your students? How do we help students learn and understand about the different needs that are in animal husbandry? And so we're going to just talk through some tools, and hopefully this will give you some ideas to start thinking about ways to engage your students, ways to interact, and bring about knowledge in that world. So some of these training tools, we're going to again start from the beginning and move to the end. So with this, we'll start with our birthing care. So really, we say bringing training to life. So what we're looking at here is understanding things like artificial insemination. So one of the products that we have is a bovine artificial insemination, or AI cervix training kit. You come and they have 9 different cervixes. All right, each cervix is different. Each of them have a different size. There are kind of that heifer, that first time calf who is going to be bred, all the way to larger cervixes for those calves who have been bred over and over again. So in this case, or cattle have been bred more than once. So in this case here, one of the things that we do is we look at, and do students understand what proper technique is like? Do they understand how to manipulate and move that AI pipette through the cervix, be able to actually do insemination? Where are the best places to inseminate? What do you do in that world? And so with this training kit, we actually have cervixes where students can actually use the AI gun and manipulate and make sure they understand. Now, this also works with our bovine breeder. So it allows you to put in different cervixes for students to then have different opportunities there. But it gives them that hands-on learning of how do you do the proper technique? Why is that important? What's the outcome of it? And then that's the case. In this case, the outcome is going to be things like having your cow bred. And in this case here, as we show here, I'm going to give you a little bit of a view of our bovine fetal development models. So bringing this forward here, this so you can see a little better. We have different fetal development models, allowing a student to be able to see the different developmental stages. So what happens between a 5-month and 7 months, and how much of a difference they have, allowing them to see the changes, some of the different feature changes, what's actually happening, the growing of hair, the growing of the ears and different aspects, what's actually happening in this stage by stage. And so in the fetal development models here for our bovine, we actually have 5 different stages, showing them from 1 month, 2 month. All right, we have our 5-month here and our 7-month here, showing the different parts and pieces and what's going on, what the weight of it is, what the look of it is, what different parts that are being developed inside and before it is going to be birthed. And so our fetal development actually helps students to get an understanding of what's happening, along with what do you need to do to take care of the mother. How are you making sure that bovine inside is being taken care of because of what you're doing both outside and then also inside? And so our fetal development models helps you and helps our students to be able to gain a better understanding of what's going on while you're actually while the pregnancy is actually going on. So getting back to our PowerPoint here, that is one of those pieces and one of the pieces of the puzzles of, again, starting with our AI cervix training, moving to, okay, now it's bred, what's happening to that calf, getting ready and prepared for it, and then moving into actually birthing. We have a birthing simulation, allowing students to understand both ultrasound, what's happening inside again, and then Now it's ready to be birthed. What do we do? So let's talk a little bit about our bovine birthing and ultrasound simulator. The whole purpose here is that it's a lifelike calf. It actually has a calf that comes with it. And then it can actually be birthed through the simulation. Now, in this tabletop model, this calf can be put in 12 different presentations or positions to be birthed. This allows you, the instructor, to be able to show what's happening in every single type of position or presentation, what different issues might come up, what things, troubleshooting opportunities there might be while you're working with birthing that calf. So we also bring curriculum with all of our products, and so you can actually see what is happening and teach and train the students so they understand the calving process, what is happening in that presentation, talking to them about abnormal and normal presentations, what's happening, what you might need to do different, or how you might need to involve others to be able to help birth that calf. We also have ultrasound. So in this case, it allows you to move in to the back end of the cow, be able to move around and see the different visuals of what it would look like of a calf at different stages. So you can see a month-old calf, you can see a 2-month-old calf, and what's happening. We also have some issues. So free Martin, some dead fetus. What are you going to do, and what does that look like? We have twins. We have the ability to show sexting. So all these different pieces are skill development for your students, allowing your students then to be able to look at, understand, interact with the animal in this world that we're at. Again, one of the things that we see is the need to try to get this hands-on learning, because students may not be able to do this in the real world. They may not see a set of twins for many years or once in a great while. And so giving them that understanding, so when it does come up, they have that knowledge and that confidence to know, I've done this before, I've seen this before, I can handle this. So giving them that knowledge, that training. Another one we want to look at is animal care. So, in the world of animal husbandry, so one of the things that we look at is not only the birth and the creation of that animal and what's going on there, but now we're talking about the after effects of it. Now, the biggest piece that we see a lot of times is just that calf care. They're the most vulnerable at time. So we have a simulator and getting students to understand what are the different problems that could happen. We have a hoof model here. And what the hoof model is it shows you, now this is a replica of an actual hoof. It gives students the ability to see what it looks like. It shows the inside, what bones and tendons are being included. And then it actually has a removable part. So then they can actually see inside and see what the bone structure is, what the cartilage, what the hoof is made out of. It includes curriculum to understand what's going on. It talks about hoof care. And so if you have a cow with a bad hoof, what would you do? Why is it important to have quality hooves or good hooves for your animals that they're going to be standing all day? What things do you need to do to bandage or care for a hoof of a cow? And so we have our hoof model as well. We also have our bovine injection simulator, allowing you to get students to be able to do things like ear tagging, hormone implants, being able to do things like doing different types of injections and also blood draws. All of this allows you and your students to be able to practice over and over and over again and getting a good understanding of what they need to do before they actually go and do the real thing. Being able to make sure that they have the practice in, the understanding, the landmarks, all that information before they would actually do the real thing. This is important for that training and that skill development, because once they do it, they're going to be doing it on a live animal. And that's a very important, and you want to make sure you're taking care of that animal. So within this world, one of the things with our calf care that we look at is we have different pieces of the puzzle in this simulation, allowing for you to do things like ear tagging, do things like tube feeding. So making sure nutrition is a piece of the puzzle. If they're not getting the nutrition they need, how do you help supplement that? Being able to do blood draws, castration, checking for the healthy animal with navel swelling. So in this case here, we really focus on getting students in understanding of health assessments. So what is their temperature, their pulse, respiration rate, getting them to be able to understand not just one, but are you doing it for the whole herd? What are the different issues that you need to be focused on? What are the signs and symptoms that you need to work with that animal? This is all different activities that is hands-on learning for your students, but what it helps your students do then is get that first taste and understanding of what they're going to see in the real world. So we also have the help and the placement for you to be able to show and to demonstrate this in the animal on the simulation. So then the students can then learn from you, learn from each other, and then repeatedly learn over and over again. All of this comes again with things like health checks, things like worksheets, PowerPoint slides, interactive activities, getting them to really understand it. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about our animal science training. So not only are we focused on just simulation and what do you do for the animal, but also do you understand the whole kind of animal itself, the whole system part of it, all the parts and pieces working together. And so in this case here, we have other parts of this animal science training here. We have a beef cattle kit. We have our cow model, both individual large-scale cow model, and then we also have a 5-pack of small scale cow models. All those parts and pieces are able to be taken out, put back together, and interactive. We also have butcher beef cuts, allowing you to have about a half-size beef carcass that is all made out of rubberized plastic that then has magnets that you can pull apart the individual cuts for retail cuts, to be able to see the different primals, be able to interact where and understand the different meat cuts that are available for a beef cut. Now, in this case here, one of the products that we have is our beef cattle kit. Now, this is a week's long worth of curriculum that is included here, and it is an overview of all of the parts and pieces of our calf care. So in this case, it comes with whiteboards, so you can have students do and interact with all the different systems that are involved. It comes with things like trivia cards and beef cattle ID cards, allowing you to be able to do trivia on parasites and diseases of the animal, being able to do and look at all the different types of animals, beef breeds, excuse me, and what was involved there. It all comes in a nice case, allowing you to do a full week's worth of things like breed identification, parasite and diseases, feed management, selective or judging and selection of your cattle, career assessment, body parts and reproduction, digestive systems. So it goes through all those different parts and pieces, helping your students to get a good kind of grasp and understanding of the world of beef cattle, allowing them to get that first knowledge as they go in and start working more and more in the animal science world. Now, with our cow model, all of our cow models have removable and replaceable parts. So you can actually split it in the middle, be able to then open it up, and all of the parts and pieces are magnetized so they can pull apart, come together, allowing you to have activities, interaction with this, making sure students understand the different system, digestive system, the reproductive system, the nervous system, the respiratory system, all the different parts and pieces, allowing you and your students to be able to understand those interactions. So, for example, we have a lesson on just ruminant and what is included there. So, understanding things like what is all involved in the digestive tract. So the four, really chambers of the stomach, what each one does, talking about why the importance and the features of each part, being able to understand how it all works together and where and what is happening in the digestive system. Okay, working with different types of activities there as well. So with that said, one of the things that we really want to help and have you think about is then, how do you engage? What do you do with your students? How do you interact with them? What do you do to help them interact with the world that they're in here as well? So some resources to help, some ideas for you to work in that way. Well, the first thing that we have is we have free lesson plans for you. Now, we have them in a very wide range of different topics. So again, we're talking about agriculture and really kind of that animal science world here, but we also have them in plant science. We have them in entrepreneurship. We have them in STEM. We have them in welding and manufacturing and trades. So it hits a large area that you can get different free resources that focus on career exploration. Now, when we talk about career exploration, there's also that understanding of what actually would you do in those worlds. So one of the things that I'm going to hit on first is our scenario card world. So we have scenario cards. Oh, I guess we'll start with our career exploration here. Career exploration really focuses in our the different areas within agriculture. So there's a whole section just on animal systems as an example here. So let me show you just a little bit about this. I will share a different screen here. So in our career exploration area here, we have different exploration lesson plans that you can come in and you can click on, and it'll bring you right into the different areas of exploration, allowing you to then pick what one and what type of topic you are interested in. So another area that I want to kind of talk through is what's included in all these. So inside of this, then you are able to pop up, and in this case, it's careers in animal science, and it actually gives you the worksheets that you would use to understand, what a good employee in animal science includes. It talks through and has you start looking at what do you know, what do you want to know, what kinds of careers are involved in that world. It gives things like, what type of opportunities might be in certain areas that maybe you never thought about, or maybe they did. Now, coming into a lot of classrooms, one of the things that happens in this world, and one of the things that we look at is just that, is checking and saying, what do students know? And then what do they not know? Because sometimes one of the big pieces here is that the students only know, what they know, and they don't even know the rest of the word out there. And it's our job to help that. So there's different types of traits and characteristics that students have that might bring them into a path that they never thought that they would be interested in. That is something where this really helps them understand that and unique in that world, all the way to giving us a lesson where students can actually start, looking at jobs out there and do things like creating cover letters and creating resumes that might fit one of these pathways in one of these worlds there. The other side of the house that we have is scenario cards. So the other piece of this puzzle is that we have different scenario cards that focus specifically on workplaces that they may see someday. So in this case, most every single scenario card has some sort of an icebreaker activity. It goes into, what's going on, what are you seeing? And then it gets them starting to look and understand. So in this case, the icebreaker is, here's the scenario. You feed calves on a farm on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, help give them full-time employee time off. When you get there on Friday, you notice that a few of the calves look dehydrated and have loose stool. When you feed the calves, you notice they're lethargic, not interesting. However, you're questioning here, all right, what in the world? You check the records, you don't see any notes about any of the calves being sick. However, with your experience, you know this isn't something that developed overnight. So there's something here that wasn't presented before. What does that mean? Now, you need to start looking into that. How do you make sure that the animal is cared for? But it might also look and say, okay, what wasn't being done by maybe others, or as your team is working, what do you need to change? And so it brings those points to consider here. It talks about, well, what is your core workers? What responsibility and scenario in that world might be? So look at it from that view. What you need to look at, what your boss might look at. And then also from the position of the calves, how are you helping and understanding and working with them? So in this case, you need to then start looking and answering some of these key questions. And you can look at every single person's point of view and answer it from their point of view, starting with the coworkers, starting with you, your boss, the calves. Working through these types of scenarios really helps students to understand, oh, this is interesting. Maybe this is the type of career I'd be interested in the future. So we have those types of scenario cards in agriculture, horticulture, vet tech, leadership, and also in employability or career ready type of scenarios. So a lot of different scenarios that helps you in that world. Now, getting back to our free resources for you, in this case, we have some career exploration lesson plans that we want to give you and let you use. We also have some posters for you. These posters, again, are a wide variation in the sense of everything from your agriculture to your plant science world. We have a lot of different options for you as well. So if I can bring this here, let me check just to make sure that I am sharing the correct share here. There we go. Okay, share. Let's see if I can get to the right slide here. There we go. Here we go. Yep. So again, showing it for you. Let me show you in this case here, agriculture career exploration. We also have vet tech. We have trade skills and welding, all different areas that you might be interested in. In this case here, we get right into it and it has the curriculum all ready for you here. In this case, as I scroll down, you can see the lesson at a glance. So again, careers in animal science or animal systems, excuse me. It gives you a focus section. It gives you a learn section and a review. It shows you the approximate time for those for you to be able to do. And then it starts giving you and gives all the materials you need, all of the different facilitator steps for you. So you as a teacher can start looking and going through this and start presenting this. And it's a week's worth of curriculum for you and your students to start looking at and start to walk through. So they have a good understanding of different careers in different types of agriculture areas. Also, we have posters. Those will also be helpful. So in that case, one of the things that we want to do is we want to give some time. If there's any types of questions from this that we can help to, again, promote, help you to engage your students in bovine focus type of careers, engagement, bringing this type of learning into your school. So when we look at this, one of the things, again, that we have focused on here is really working with you and hoping you see that we are looking at this from, again, an understanding of that view of starting at the very beginning, from birth all the way to death, and really saying, how do we teach all the different skills that are included in bovine? And so what we've hopefully helped in this case is bringing some of those types of skills in here, from the how to artificially inseminate, how to help with development, how to birth, how to know the different systems, and then also how to care for the calf when it's born up through its full age, making sure that you're taking care of it during that time. And then after the fact as well, what are you doing and taking care of it in that world too? So again, from the beginning to end, we are looking to try to help, try to encourage, try to bring forth different types of ideas for you in this world. So if there are any questions, please feel free to ask them. We'd be happy to help get those answers to you. And thank you for the time that we have been here today. If you have questions, you can always reach out to us. We're always here to help. And we thank you for taking the time. We hope that you enjoyed this and that it was a positive experience and you gleaned something from working and listening here with us today. So with that said, thank you.